Okay, thank you so much again for the lovely session and presentation. Please join me in welcoming on the stage Ms. Mariam Al-Majadi, working as a Total Reward and Talent Acquisition Officer at Al-Koot Industrial Projects Company. Ms. Mariam.
A warm round of applause for Ms. Mariam.
Ms. Mariam has a degree in mechanical engineering, and also she has couple of years experience in HR, and she did a great achievement and certification in leadership development as well, Kuwait labor law and talent management. Welcome on the stage, Ms. Mariam.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mariam. We're going to have the next panel discussion for talent mapping and competencies assessment. We have heard already from this expert, and we would like to invite him once again on the stage. We have Mr. Abdul Aziz Al Rumi, the Assistant General Manager of Human Resources Group. A round of applause.
The next person has 20 years of experience. He is a certified leadership trainer from Dale Carnegie University and working as a COO at Staff Arabia, that major also in HR related to our topics. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ahmed Abdelaziz.
Where's Isra?
Yes, here she is. Isra. Yes.
Our next speaker is a visionary HR leader with 14 years of experience who's driving transformative changes within organizations.
Ms. Isra Aziz.
And also our HRCI ambassador of Kuwait.
Okay, the next person. Okay. Please join me in doing enough noise to welcome on the stage Ms. Wala Odi, manager at Bouticat, coming with 15 years experience, hands on the field. We are so happy to have you here.
Now we're going to hand it over to Ms. Mariam Al-Majadi for the panel discussion.
Thank you, our MCs, for the warm welcoming. Thank you, our audience, and thank you, our dear esteemed panelists. So we'll start our discussion today with regards to the topic of talent mapping and competency assessment. I would like to start by saying talents is what distinguishes a person while the job is being performed, the same job is being performed by different people. And this actually brings me to the question of what is exactly talent mapping and why is it crucial for aligning talent with long-term business success?
Can I answer the question?
Course.
So, thank you for asking this. Talent is a definition for every person in this room and any organization. Talent is a gift that we have and we're born with, and we can shape to make it better. Now, in order for us to get the most engagement of such an individual is to map their potential, their capacity, their competency, their expertise, their aspiration, and their interest into any job or role or task. As simple as that.
Thank you, Mr. Abdelaziz. And this brings me to the second question to elaborate a bit more about the input. What are the key phases that guide the talent mapping process to ensure it aligns with organizational goals?
Okay, so, well, talent mapping, it has four phases, main four phases. The first one is the identification phase. So in the identification phase, we are identifying the high performance, the calibers, the high performance, the exceeding expectation. We are identifying the critical skills as well as the critical roles in the organization. This will be the first phase and the foundation, and definitely to have our competency dictionary, which is mapping to all our positions. The second phase, it will be the assessment phase. And in this phase, it's very important to build our skills taxonomy based on the critical skills we have. So what's the skills taxonomy we have for the entire organization? Well, the 360 leadership assessment, it's very important and crucial to identify the potential of leader, especially when we will measure the leadership competences like how to build talent, the strategic thinking, the change management, and people-centric as well. And also the potential, how to measure the potential of people, and this is simply by assessing their competences. We can use a lot of tools to assess these competences, like the assessment center, 360 feedback. A lot of activities can we measure the assessment through certified assessors, and this is very important also to have a certified assessor. They understand how to measure the skills and the competences, because this behaviors, it's not easy to measure. So understanding the competences and the behavior, it's very important, and this would be in the second phase of the assessment. Third phase, it will be the bench planning, and this will be the outcome of the second phase, or the outcome of the assessment, whatever the insights and the assessment, the outcome, it's coming up from the second phase. We will start our bench planning. So we can see the talent readiness. We can build the talent readiness and what's the potentials of talent. Are they ready to take over the next level, or are there still needs development? And creating also or defining the critical positions and having a plan for the critical position, it's very important. So what would be the potential successors for this position? What will be their readiness? Are they ready to take over the position? And what's the emergency players? So we need to define the emergency player in case of a sudden departure of this critical role. And by having both the talent readiness and the critical position, we can map the talent with the positions and have the bench planning. So and the development as well. So from this insights of the assessment, we can build the individual development plan. We can customize a development plan based on each and every individual gaps they have or areas of improvement. By that we can map the talent with the position. And the last phase will be the phase of development and the phase of acquiring talent as well. So in this phase, the talent committee will decide based on this outcome. Either we will have a potential profiles in-house, or we need to buy from external. So we are saying it's buy, build, and borrow. Either we will build internally, transfer, borrow internally, or buy externally. So by having these steps and aligning these phases together, we will have a very strategic talent mapping aligning with our organizational strategy, and we'll make sure that we will have a strategic workforce planning that align with our strategy, reducing the risk of loss of talents, and as well as have a strong bench strength that will have a very strong individual potential that they are ready to take on the next level and the critical positions.
Thank you, Mrs. Straw,
Thank
for
you.
mentioning the 4 phases and elaborating about them. I have an interesting quote by John Calvin Maxwell, American author. He mentioned that there are 3 qualities a leader must exemplify to build trust: competence, connection, and character. And 3 lines under competence, which he started first with. And this brings me to the question: as workforce demands evolve, what critical competencies are emerging particularly for future leaders? And how can HR integrate these into talent development strategies?
Thank you, Mariam, for this question. Happy to be here again in Kuwait after 5 years being in Egypt. The most, trigger word utilized these days in HR is competencies. I remember I was here in Kuwait in 2018, and I have met one of the talent acquisition leaders from Facebook. I asked him a question: how you do this talent acquisition in Facebook? You remember that time nobody was talking about AI development or metaverse, hologram. These kind of terminologies were not there at that time. And he answered me a very smart answer. He said, we are not targeting rules. We are targeting skills with right attitude.
That's perfect.
That's why Facebook these days where they are. Before 6 years, before the pandemic, before nobody was aware about these terminologies we are talking about today, they were targeting the right people with the right skills. So now the competencies of the HR people who are working in talent acquisition or talent mapping, they should have certain competencies. First of all is the digital fluency. They should understand that, as Brad said from a while, where are our customers as HR? Our customers simply are the hiring managers, the business heads. So how can we be adaptable? How we can be flexible as HR personnel? How can we sell our products who are the candidates to the hiring managers? So I'm saying that digital fluency, adaptability and flexibility, global mindset. We are seeing people are coming from different countries, speaking different language, but at the same time we are all supporting our organizations. We are having the same challenges wherever we are. Talking about global mindset, now we are all of us are familiar with the working remotely, the offshoring, the outsourcing. There is no borders anymore between countries. I can hire anyone across the globe and utilize the skills and abilities of people around the globe. So these are the competences which we are expecting to have for the HR professionals or talent acquisitions people, the competences. And I want to add that how to integrate this into the HR department. As we just said in the morning, by giving learning and development training, programs of induction and inclusion of people inside the organization.
I believe also rewarding is influence the behavior. So rewarding this good behaviors can influence and push this behavior.
So many ideas. Melanie was just saying so many great ideas about the inclusion, and Sarah yesterday as well, using these kind of initiatives, HR initiatives, selling the ideas of HR is so much important.
Absolutely, thank you. While assessing competencies in general, we are all subjected to some sort of perception or an assumption, or I'd say inner bias, unconscious bias. So this actually brings me to an interesting question which says, how can HR leaders assess competencies accurately and fairly while ensuring transparency and objectivity?
Thank you, Mariam, for this question. I do believe that assessing competencies accurately, fairly, and transparency with high transparency is very essential for HR leaders. And I do believe that the best strategies we can use having a clear, defined competency framework. This is as a start. If we have a clear, defined competency framework, then we will have a clear road Secondly, we define open and clear and transparent communication with the leaders, with the employees, with the top management. In addition to assess the competencies accurately, we need also to define the challenges we will face, conduct assessments.
Fostering the culture of competencies.
مظبوط صح.
And I believe training assessors, it's very important.
Exactly.
So assessors should understand how to assess soft skills because this is very critical. And having a collaborative and holistic 360 assessment is very important. So people will feel they are getting assessing from different resources, different people, and on different competences. So having the collaboration of all these scores, it's giving more transparency and more fair to the process. So I'm not being evaluated from only one or two people. No, I have been evaluated from even assessors, they are not working closely with me. So we are eliminating bias.
Great, thank you, thank you. Actually, employers set expectation, and for us as an HR professionals or leaders, we often identify some room for improvement within our existing workforce, or perhaps for recruiters in like finding the right talents to hire. So this actually brings me to a question: how can HR use talent mapping to identify and close skill gaps effectively? And what metrics should be used to track this progress?
Simple as, for measuring knowledge, we have a test or a certification. If you require a behavior, they need to demonstrate this behavior. And then based on this, you map whatever role that you need to have based on the set of competencies and expertise to help you in the decision making. Because the problem we have is we can be competent, but we are inexperienced. And this I will keep for next year presentation, inshallah.
We do also, as HR professionals, know that keeping a candidate ready for key position roles within the organization is something vital and important. So, what is the role of talent mapping? What role talent mapping plays in succession planning? And how can organization use it to identify and nurture future leaders?
Okay, so succession planning, it's part from the talent mapping. It's working in synergy together. So in talent mapping sense, we are identifying, assisting, developing, and mapping the talent with the critical roles, because it's not only in the talent mapping, it's required the assisting for talents to have the skills and the potential required for current and future roles. It's not only for current role, but also for future roles. So yes, succession planning, it's under the umbrella of the talent mapping, and since it's a proactive approach that we are planning ahead and having a strategic workforce planning, that we are identifying the skills we have in our organization, assisting them and putting them in IDP to be a future leaders. So this comes, yes, under the talent mapping.
Thank you, Mrs. Ra. Now, I'm sure with your vast experience, all our panelists, you've faced challenges in implementing a competency-based talent mapping approaches. So I would really love, and our audience would love to learn from your experience. What challenges have you faced?
Should I answer this question? Okay. When it comes to the challenges, I want to address something. There is a quote for Peter Drucker. He is saying that he said, we are spending a lot of time teaching our leaders what to do. And we are not spending enough time teaching them what to stop. So I think the most difficult part or the most challenging part of implementing competencies in workplace is the resistance.
True.
The resistance to change, as well as the constantly measuring competencies and changing the parameters of the competencies, which is required because we are dealing with humans, and the humans are changing. Where is Mansour? He's the owner of the code. People change. So every day there are changes. So we have to adapt with these changes. And I don't want to say in a daily basis, but at least we have to be up to the expectations of employees, because they are people and we have to adapt with their expectations. So the most difficult, most challenging part is to keep the competencies up to date, measure it frequently, and get the best of it most of the time. We can do this by elevating the using technology again, using the assessment tools, which will help. Now we can use the AI solutions. We are talking about so many solutions now to improve and adapt the competencies using the context of the jobs we are dealing with.
Absolutely, Mr. Mohammed.
See, as Ahmed said,
I completely agree with you. Assisting organizations' readiness and having actually the resistance is a big challenge. Please, Mrs. Stark, go ahead.
So I want to elaborate on this. Yes, the biggest challenge is the resistance of change. So most of the managers we worked with, they used to recommend or push for the promotion of any individual, either based on the performance or bias or seniority, length of service. So coming up with the talent mapping and saying, no, hey, we have a process. We have assessors, we have an assessment, we will have the final score, and we do inform you either he's ready to be promoted or not. This was the biggest challenge we were facing, that now the decision, it's not silos with the manager. It's there is an involvement from HR. So this was the biggest challenge. So no more based on the performance, no more 9 books, please. No more 9 books. So the manager is saying, hey, he's a potential. How do you know he's a potential? We need to assess his potential, right? And also another challenge, we were facing the complexity of the process, because in assessment we have, HR has a lot to do in assessment, building the activities, having the talent center, collaborating the scores, and building the IDP, individual IDP. This is a very exhausting and time-consuming.
And add it to the BMS,
Time
by
and
the way,
effort.
the performance management system. We need Amr Shalabi to confirm it.
Yeah, we'll look for this after the panel.
Any
So
other?
it was a very big challenging. So standardize the process and streamline the process. It was one of the challenge also. And as we said, if we didn't buy in from the management and the managers, they will not support us in executing this process. So yeah.
Yeah,
This
I
is-
do agree with you. It's really consuming a lot of time and efforts. Yes, that's true. And also one of the major challenges, in my opinion, also that actually it's the challenge. Sorry, I'm sorry. Because I wanted to say a solution for the time consuming, and then I wanted to say another challenge. That's why I got confused. Okay, as a solution, in my opinion, for consuming the time and effort, I think that automation process would help a lot. and as well as training the employees, as you said before, giving them a huge or extensive training on how to be a good assessors for the competencies. It would be a great help as well.
And for people to take accountability to finalize their RDP, it's very important. So employees should be responsible, managers should be accountable, and for us, I think we are supporting and facilitating the process, not owning the process. So this is very important. Otherwise, it will be a waste of time.
Yes, for sure.
I think, I'm sorry, Mariam,
Yes.
I think another challenge that assessing the soft skills as well, sometimes it's very, very difficult. Like sometimes assessing, for example, leadership skills or such skills, it can consume time and it will be difficult to come accurately and to gain the buy-in from the employees based on the result.
Yeah.
So
And understanding the competency as well, because competences, it's knowledge, skills, and abilities, right?
True.
So evaluating the competences, it's not that easy. So, or even for the assessors of the managers, if you say communication, what do you mean by communication? What you are looking for exactly? So defining the competences is very important. What's the dimension and attributes? What's the definition? What's the behaviors you are looking in this particular competences? As well as said, leadership, it's a very vague and big word. But what are you looking for the leadership exactly? So we need to define the competency to be clear for every and each one and to set expectation for the employee. So this is what expecting from you.
Thank
Don't
you.
say leadership when Abdulaziz is sitting next to you. He's the leadership guy in the Middle East.
Abdulaziz wants to go home.
But he's not
I'm
people-centric,
tired.
unfortunately.
Abdulaziz is out of power.
You want to add to us one of your challenges, or?
My only challenge is because we are not people-centric. We have our own agenda. And the simple way and the best way to map talent is to ask them where they want to be in the organization and why.
That's great. Thank you, our panelists. Our audience, we have like a few minutes for any question. One question, please. One question for our panelists.
Want to say something?
Yes.
Yes, please.
What do you mean by platform for competency?
There is Mercer, there is
Yeah.
Corn Ferry, there are too many.
Yeah.
I do it the Abdulaziz Rumi way.
Yeah, because Corn Ferry don't give a complete one. They don't give you the real platform. Yani they just give assessments and templates, but they
So
don't do the
It
whole.
depends. There is a lot of consultancy,
Want
as
to
Abdulaziz said.
elaborate in this? Sorry, Isra. Want to elaborate in this?
Yes, area.
What?
It's difficult. مالي خلق.
System is system.
Yeah.
If you are using a platform or a solution, ultimately it's a IT solution.
Yeah, what
So
IT
whatever you
solution?
are feeding the system will give outcome to you. So it depends on the methodology you are using, and if this is your question, how to generate or create competencies, you could use different methodologies like Hey methodology or Corn Ferry now, or Mercer, or whatever. So the IT solution or the platform is just implementation of the homework you have done out of the system.
I think system it will facilitate the process, but the competencies should come from your core values.
Yeah, I mean the system itself. What
Yeah.
platform are you using? Yeah, just-
Okay.
I will help you out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable time, our panelists. And
Any
our
other
dear
questions?
audience.
Any other questions?
Thank you.